So we're hearing the reason why Terry Stotts resigned from the Milwaukee Bucks was due to an incident that occurred at Shootaround. So basically what happened was the other day, all right, they were having a practice. And according to sources who witnessed the events, Adrian Griffin wrapped up the Shootaround and called the team together for a huddle to close out the day and let the players get to a post-shoot-around shooting drill. And during that huddle, Adrian Griffin told the assistant coaches that he wanted to have a separate huddle with them once everything wrapped up. When the players and the coaches broke from the big huddle, Terry Stotts went into an opposite direction of the coaches' huddle, and instead of walking towards the players to start discussing offense, and every other coach went to Adrian Griffin because he asked them to have a separate huddle. As Stotts attempted to start a conversation with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, Adrian Griffin called to Terry Stotts to join the coaching huddle. When Terry Stotts asked for some time with the players, Adrian Griffin yelled for Terry Stotts to join the coach's huddle. This happened in front of the entire coaching staff and players and like everybody, the entire team. And when I think he says yell, I think he probably said, "Get the fuck over here." And even though this was brief, allegedly the interaction underlies the complexity of the relationship between Griffin and Stotts. And there was probably they were probably really abrasive towards each other. And supposedly there was two perspectives surrounding Stotts' resignation, his potential difficulty adapting to a bench role under Adrian Griffin after more than a decade as head coach, and the other being a certain treatment and level of respect that needed to be shown to someone with Terry Stotts' pedigree. So I think supposedly Adrian Griffin being a first-time head coach, he emphasized a renewed sense of energy, and throughout the camp, he got complimented for his emphasis of physicality and competitiveness and trying to instill toughness. And again, the organization is allegedly caught off guard by Terry Stotts resigning, as the Bucks head coach Adrian Griffin discussed Terry Stotts' resignation during his previously scheduled media availability on Thursday afternoon, saying that it caught them all off guard and that they support him, that Terry Stotts is a terrific guy and that they learned a lot from him in a very short time, and he was really good at what he does, that he made a personal decision that they had to respect. And when asked for a reasoning given by Stotts for his decision, Griffin told reporters that he didn't feel that was a question for him to answer, but rather something that Terry Stotts would need to clarify, and that he's a great coach, terrific person, and that he wishes him the best. And we all know that Terry Stotts had a relationship with Damian Lillard. So Damian even said that it came out of nowhere and a lot of things happened in this league, and that for him, knowing Terry, that he's known him for 9 years and that it's a familiar face and that's unfortunate, but you got to keep moving. So it seems like it was trouble in paradise. And I want to hear your thoughts down below, guys. I'm going to play next the video I originally recorded for this just to hear your guys' thoughts. So what you guys are about to hear next is the original video that I made about this. Let me hear your thoughts down below. Again, this is just what I recorded before. Bye.
Terry Stotts, the former head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, who earlier this offseason had been hired by the Milwaukee Bucks to be Adrian Griffin's assistant coach, had resigned. And we were like, oh, this is weird. Either something happened or family or personal. So Shams Charania and Eric Nehm have came out and said in a report, Terry Stotts steps down as Bucks assistant coach days after an incident at a shoot-around, sources say. So let's get into it. I want to hear your thoughts down below. So Milwaukee Bucks assistant coach Terry Stotts is stepping down only 4 months after he came to Milwaukee, returning. So, this is what you guys need to know, is what The Athletic says. Obviously, we know that the Bucks used to have Stotts as an assistant. He served as the head coach back in 05 to 07 and was an assistant from 98 to 02. He was the coach for Damian Lillard from 2012 to 21. And what we know was that after sitting out a few years from the NBA, we saw him coach the scouting combine. When we were at the scouting combine, he was coaching the players. And Terry Stotts, 65, he joined Adrian Griffin at Milwaukee, and he was to help run the offense because Terry Stotts, known as a guy with a lot of offensive expertise, and was going to be a useful complementary coach to Adrian Griffin, who's more of a defensive focused coach. But this ended up being even more beneficial due to the fact that Damian Lillard, the guy who was coached for 9 years by Terry Stotts, had came to town. And in recent weeks, Damian Lillard had even discussed that the transition to Milwaukee was easier than he initially thought it'd be due to the fact that Terry Stotts was there, and that a lot of the sets that they were running were already the stuff that they were running in Portland, so it was easier for him to figure it out. So this isn't going to impact anything at all, but what we have heard is that it's interesting because in a recent news conference, when Lillard was asked about the offense, Lillard said that Terry Stotts had helped and all that stuff, and they were happy to have him there. At the time, and when Stotts was hired by Griffin, Stotts was going to be someone that he could lean on. And it's interesting to see that what we're hearing is we don't specifically know what had happened, or basically that Terry Stotts steps down after, I guess, he was yelled at by Mr. Adrian Griffin. I don't know the exact circumstance because we saw, like, at first that it seemed like, okay, I don't know. I get, like, it's interesting as I saw something saying that he was yelled at or he was something, but I'm curious because in the NBA, if there's a coach or star player conference, the coach gets bounced. But still, you think that any team would not acquire a star player because an assistant coach had a conflict with that player. And I think it's a weird move by Terry Stotts, and one has to keep open the possibility of Dame and Terry Stotts having a conflict. But I think it, like, in this notification, when I clicked on it, it said that there was an incident at a shoot-around, and I don't know. I think this is definitely weird, and what we're hearing is that I think it's something between Adrian Griffin. Definitely what the thing is that Terry was definitely not agreeing with either the head coach or something on the court. And I definitely think it has to either be between Dame or Terry. But I'm hearing a lot of people said that Dame said in his interview that one of the things he was most looking forward to was getting to work with Stotts again. So it seems like a lot Stotts and Griffin weren't just seeing eye to eye on things, and they decided it was better to just not work together. And it's not the first time a veteran former head coach just didn't mesh with the guy and they just went their other ways. It's definitely interesting to see if you're Milwaukee. I don't know. I want to hear your guys' opinions down below. I'm curious though. I definitely, I'll admit, I didn't expect, Terry to leave, and it seems that it seems like Terry Stotts and Adrian Griffin just didn't get along, and they beefed one way or another. Whatever it may be, why they didn't get along, it's interesting to see that this is how the cards played out, but so be it. I want to hear your guys' opinions. Do you think it was Adrian Griffin or was it Damian Lillard? Terry Stotts seems like a nice guy, and I was definitely surprised to see that he this morning, it was definitely a weird thing. I think our group chat, we all said it. We were like, oh, Terry, he's gone. C'est la vie. Well, yeah, he was at the draft combine, and it was definitely interesting to see that now they're gonna be, I guess you would say, is it coachless? I guess it's not coachless, but although Terry Stotts is like humongous, he's like 6'8", not a short dude. Also, I've realized if you have a tall coach, they all do well when they're tall. I'm done.